There, behind the play, mops up nicely. Looks forward, sees something he likes. It's Roberts, swatted away from him by Bailey. A little hit up kick, misses the target. Great mark. Coming across was Joseph. Introducing Anthony Osborne to the commentary.
Great to be here, Gilly. It's Joseph, short little pass here. Half-back for the Magpies. Huge clash here between these two teams. Clarence, of course, in some really red-hot form at the moment. Glenorchy make the switch across to Harrison Gunther. He goes down the line, finding his teammate. Jay Cox in pursuit there for the Roos. Good tackle laid by Cox. Clarence get the ball back as Williamson drives the ball to the tip of the 50. Getting across there was Neeld, unable to complete the mark, but roves beautifully. Snaps over onto his left boot. Target there. Well roved by Jared Harper. Jeremy Webberley, the intended target, just misses him. Banks Smith mops up for the Magpies. Then Glenorchy will take the ball out of defensive 50.
They move it forward unconvincingly. There's a whistle and it's a free kick. Are we going out here? I can't hear myself. Long it comes back inside 50, or not quite. Bailey juggles the mark right on the paint, hugging the boundary. Sun in his eyes. Looks in board. Not sure who the target was in the finish, but it ends in the hands of Grant. He hits up Rainbird. Took a really nice mark here a week or two ago. Finds Banksmith. Banksmith back inside for Cam's man Gunther. Found himself as a defender this season. There's a whistle. And we're going back. I think it's a Gunther kick again. So Gunther will have another crack at things. The opening stages here at KG5. Gunther looks long, beyond the 50. A pack forms, flying. There's Bowden. Out the back was Rainbird. A tumbling ball, just gets yardage. Looking for Joseph. He loses the footy. And out it goes. A stoppage here. Centre wing, far side of KG5.
Bit of a scrambly start here between these two sides. Glenorchy eager to just continue this little rebuild mid-season. Duffy wins that one down. Roving there by his opponent and Ryan Bailey. Jeremy Webberley on the end. Scrubbly kick just to half forward there for Clarence. Glenorchy to rebound. James Webb opts to with the handball over the top. Just steadily making their way down the line, but that one just out of bounds and will have a throw in.
Doesn't seem that long ago, Gilly, that we were here watching these two teams play at KG5, and it's been different fortune since then. Really started the Roos season, this particular win back in round 6, I think, and then a 4-game losing streak from the Pies since that game. They've got this season back on track with a good win last week against North Hobart.
So Banksmith long, looking for Bowden. Swatted away from his hands and out it goes. Yeah, and on the other side of the ledger, the Roos have been in real hot form. They've defeated everyone in the competition across the last 7 weeks. They've taken every scalp, so been fantastic, have the Roos. Back in it goes. Duffy with their hit out, dropped out the back. Immediately on the boot by Webb. They'll work it out of defence now, Clarence. Ling with a bit of a burst. Finds Castle. Good spoil coming from Grant. Now it's a good contest. Castle turns. Good hands. Ling now. Looks inside 50. Likes the look of Neil. Neil can't bring it down. Gunther. And then it's Arnold, who is claimed in a tackle from both sides. Stoppage, forward 50, the Roos.
Nice play from Ling there. A couple of involvements, and he'll need to be involved that back half today. A late withdrawal, Anthony James Holmes from the Clarence team with what we believe is a lower back injury.
Yeah, big out there for the Roos. I'll be hoping, as you said, for plenty of bounce out of the back, and that's a push in the back in favour of Glenorchy in defensive 50. Daniel Joseph, the man to take it. He pushes the ball out wide to Rainbird, just held up there by Jake Cox. Quite stagnant in front of him at the moment as he just assesses his options at half-back. Goes inboard. Will then get back on the end of it. Glenorchy just trying to manufacture a little bit of movement here. Ben Camerick providing an option on the wing. He opts to go inside instead. Rainbird, his fourth disposal in that little chain as he eventually rewards Camerick on the outer side. Good smother there by Jason Bailey, but the ball comes back to Camerick. Drives that one inside 50, looking for a target. Fist over the top. It'll be mopped up in the back half there by Ryan Cowie. One of several young guns to slot into this side. That ball going straight back in here with Glenorchy going inside 50. Good spoil there by Troy Cunliffe getting across. As Glenorchy just scramble the ball forward. Taylor Williamson is back there for the Roos, putting the pressure on, but the ball comes back here for Glenorchy. Mitch Walker goes inboard and a strong mark taken, uncontested in the end to the man Jay Bowden. He will have the first proper shot on goal. We've played 6.5 minutes here at KG5. Neither side yet to hit the scoreboard yet, but Jay Bowden with the best opportunity so far.
Well done by Mitch Walker there. He looked inboard. It wasn't the best kick off the boot, but the intention was to square it up. And what a man to find. Kicked 8 goals last week. A lot of those in the last quarter against North Hobart. Jay Bowden.
Makes his approach now. Ball on the way, and he likes it off the boot. Glenorchy with the opening goal here at KG5. Jay Bowden continuing his fine goal-kicking form. Magpies, 1 straight kick 6. Clarence yet to score. 7 minutes played at KG5.
Yeah, the perfect start for Glenorchy and for Jay. Just found some space, and he's always been a terrific converter, whether that be on the run or on a set shot situation, and made no mistake from about 30 metres. Good start for Glenorchy. They would fancy their chances, I think, today coming in. The Roos have been up for a while, I think on a 6-game winning streak. Gillian, weren't they terrific? We saw that one last week against... just trying to think now.
North Launceston.
Against North Launceston.
Back in the middle, Duffy wins the hit out. Convincingly too. Chambers first to meet it. Ducks and dives and cops one high. So he'll get a free kick. Drops it off. And away now through Jones, the helmeted captain. Misses his target though. Banksmith comes in, interrupts. Got Grant out the back. He hands it straight to red and white, and Cunliffe has a look. Offline, a minor score. Sorry, it wasn't Cunliffe, it was Seymour.
For the Roos. Sorry, yeah, very. They've been a very good recruit, hasn't he, since coming across from Lindisfarne, the dual William Leach medalist, Troy Cunliffe. Just gives Clarence something a little bit different through that midfield.
So long they go. Centre half back, it's taken by Grant. He spots Banksmith in some space. He'll use the space ahead of him. He'll measure a kick. Chisels it. Looking for Walker. Tapped into his path. Looks inside. Finds a target. Swung around inside 50 now. It's Webb the target. Down for the Crummers. It's picked up by Bester. He'll have a couple of cracks at it. Just slaps it back. And it'll be a stoppage.
Yeah, young Bester there, about 3 or 4 games into his TSL career. Spent some time at Glenorchy Junior Club, and went away, played at Claremont. Back with the Pies, gets an opportunity today.
So restarted. There'll be another stoppage as 3 or 4 Magpies climb on top of Cunliffe.
Glenorchy was still a few out. I would have thought out of their best 22. Gilly, Webb, Butterworth, Dilger and Webster still to come back into this team.
So Cowie, that's a risky kick. Picked up by O'Brien though. He'll have to mop this one up. In some trouble. Good bump coming from Bowden. Black and white, climb on top.
Well, some good intent from the Pies early on. They've had the majority of the possession and the game being played in their forward half the last 3 or 4 minutes.
Umpire Scott Jeffrey brings it back underway. Bailey finds a target, and O'Brien, a web of handballs, is brought undone by the Pies, and yet another stoppage. Might see a bit of that this afternoon. 1 straight the Magpies plays, 1 behind at this stage, early stage of this game. Williamson at the back as the general mops up, cries for holding the ball. This might be, and it is. So a bit of niggle early in this one. Be a good opportunity for Glenorchy to add a second to the ledger.
It's always a good spot to lay a tackle in front of the Glenorchy Social Club because the supporters certainly dine in on the holding the ball call, but fair enough too. It was a really smart tackle by Bierman, who gets an opportunity, albeit to convert from a tight angle.
Yeah, this will ask a bit of him, Brownie. We've been impressed with young Jai Bierman. Bit of a pocket rocket in this side.
He's been away with the state under-16s, performed pretty well there too, kicking a couple of goals.
Jai Bierman on the outside of the right. It looked really good, but it just came back a little too much and hit the woodwork. Brady Jones to bring him out of defence now, the Roos.
It's a tight opportunity there for Bierman. I had a good look of it as Jones finds Williamson. Such a good mark overhead is Taylor Williamson. He has the ball at half-back for the Roos. He drives it down the line. Just spoiled over the top there by Grant. Clarence do have some runners though. Chris Neild on the end. James Brenner going to run inside 50 here. If the ball sits for him, he's going to have a good opportunity. Turns around one, dishes the ball off. Alex Silva has a shot. Just misses to the left-hand side. Clarence with their second behind of the afternoon. We know the Roos have quite a quick forward group, so if they can get out the back and create those opportunities, it's going to cause some havoc for Glenorchy.
No, I agree with you, Anthony. They look really dangerous on the transition from the kick out there, the Roos. Probably should have finished young Silva.
So the short kick out to Rainbird. Hits its target. He goes outside and finds Millhouse. Millhouse down the wing. Not the most confident of kicks, but meets its target in Webb. Inside now with a bit more haste finds Daly. Quick hands. Now Rainbird. Measures it for Bierman. Jai Bierman over the top. He finds the big man Duff. Big Duffy. Looks ahead of him. A lot of numbers. No obvious targets for Duffy, so he just pops it up. Gives it a little bit of height. Williamson best placed. Didn't take the grab at the fall. It's all Glenorchy. Only for an instant, though. It's interrupted by Gall. They'll work it out now, the Roos. Webberley ends the chain of handballs. Kicks onto the wing. Cunliffe comes across, as does Gunther, and the latter sees it out. Tremendous experience for these young umpires today to be running around with Scott Jeffrey, an experienced AFL umpire. Down now off hands. Webb sends forward. They contest. At the full is Rainbird. He's tackled, crunched. It'll be a ball up right near the boundary. Approaching, attacking 50 for the Pies. And they've had a hot start.
It's been busy. Mitch Rainbird, one of those players that is getting more game time in the middle with the absence of the captain, Braden Webb.
So Jeremy Webberley gets on the end of that one, just scrambles the ball forward looking for Trent Hope. He lays a strong tackle. The umpire will take that one back, and again, plenty of niggle in this one here. Tim Castle and James Webb just letting each other know that they're about. So the umpire throws the ball up right on the boundary line, and we'll redo that one with a throw in. 14 minutes played here at KG5. Magpies 1-1-7, Clarence 2 behinds. Tight start early on a sunny but slightly breezy day out here at Glenorchy. Walker wins that one down. Jake Cox is the man that gets the ball though. Reese Mott just hacks that one inside 50. Jay Bowden's thereabouts, but the umpire will send it back for a free kick. Or has he paid advantage? Looks like advantage was taken. Shot goes wide and we'll have a throw in forward pocket for Glenorchy.
Gee, the wind got hold of that kick, didn't it, from Jay Bowden? I thought it was actually going to swing around nicely and be a goal, but certainly moved to the left of screen pretty quickly and what looks like a pretty tricky breeze based on that kick.
So in it comes again. Cox bursting through the pack. Didn't get rid of it, legally at least. A flying shot from Bowden's offline. So they'll bring it out of defence through the playing coach, Jeremy Webberley. Little nudgy one in the pocket. Finds his target in Bailey nicely. Very reliable defender is Jace Bailey. This is a big kick. Get serious, latitude. Look at that. Right onto the wing. And it invites a foot race. They're off of the races now. Handed out the back. Gunther couldn't take the ball, but he was held, so that'll be a let-off. Harrison Gunther, as I said, found his home in defence this season. Oh, he has the ball smothered. Could it be a crucial error? Able to butter up, but it might just come back just as quick. No, they cut it off in the middle. Joseph handing out. A little grubber, looking for Bowden. He's dealt with, but he's got Banksmith in support. He'll find Daly. Should turn and burn. Got an option inside. A bouncing ball off the chest of Bierman. He's wrapped up, and that is holding the footy. Terrific tackle from Ling. They make it out through Cowie. Looking for Dickinson. Across, chopping out was Bowden, who opts for the sanctuary of the boundary.
It's a good tackle on Bierman. Was just a little bit slow to get ball onto the foot then. Terrific run-down tackle.
Looks like Alex Gall paying a bit of attention to Jay Bowden early. As that ball comes in, Mitch Walker wins it down. Weberly just kicks along the ground. Interesting to see what the umpire says. And a free kick going the way of Glenorchy. It might have gone either way. Umpire said it was deliberate. So Ben Camrick to take the free kick right in front of the interchange bench here for Glenorchy. Just drives that ball again. Just a nice bit of wind up going there. The back was Bester. The ball just rolls out into Jason Bailey's hands. He's wrapped up. The umpire will say no prior opportunity. Ball up inside Glenorchy's forward 50.
So up it goes, swatted down by Parker, gathered from Daly, hugging the boundary. He's bended it back beautifully. Daly. That was sensational stuff from the pocket rocket.
Yeah, terrific. Best in the finals last year for Glenorchy, Cullen Daly, and we saw him really come on in the second half of the year since coming across from Brighton. Maybe hasn't been at his the form that he was at the back end of last year, but that'll certainly get him going. He's predominantly been playing as that small forward this year. Gives great effort, doesn't he, around the contest, and he's a smart decision maker, and he made the most out of a really tight situation there. And it's all Glenorchy at the moment, the boys. Clarence just struggling. They're getting beaten in contested possession and on the outside as well by the Pies.
Duffy down, Camrick gathers, back for Duffy, and he is thrown to the ground by his opposing ruckman. So rinse and repeat in the centre.
We'd love Trent Stanton to get his hands on the footy today, boys. So back into the team today for the Roos.
Yeah, big in, and it was a big out just before the start of the game with Holmes coming out of the side and Gall coming in as Neil slaps it on the boot. We might see Stanton soon as Cunliffe gathers. Has his ball blocked as he looks to power deep forward. He's caught high, I reckon. Yep, says the umpire. So it'll be a Cunliffe kick. Yeah, Trent Stanton, probably the most dangerous small forward in the competition over many years. Yet to really get involved, but sitting deep. He's got Arnold for company, so we'll take one of Glenorchy's very best defenders. So Cunliffe, Troy Cunliffe. Been a really big inclusion into this side. Crosses the paint of 50. Lets it hang. That one's not going to make the journey. Cox arrives. Doesn't take the mark. In fact, it's out of bounds on the full. Glenorchy will reset out of defence.
Yeah, an interesting breeze here. We saw that Jason Bailey kick before go a long way, and Troy Cunliffe just unable to quite get the same distance as Glenorchy kick it back in. Ryan Bailey almost takes the mark at centre half forward for the Roos. But the Magpies have the numbers. Jay Bowden just bananas that one forward. Duffy going for the chest mark, unable to quite complete it. He's got Banksmith there for company. He's at the bottom of the pack as the Clarence players converge, and the umpire says holding the ball, so a free kick going the way of the Roos here on the wing. Quick to pass it off as they pump the ball back inside 50. Harrison Gunther had the sit, unable to complete the mark, but the umpire will likely award him a free kick. Looked to be infringed, and that is the way the umpire sees it as well. So Harrison Gunther getting a bit of the ball early in defence. Just assesses his options here. Opts to go short. Strong mark taken. Glenorchy just looked to work the ball up the field. Going long for Duffy on the wing. Just drops the mark and it rolls out of bounds. So the throw in far side here at KG5. 20 minutes played, and it's a 2-goal lead to the hosts.
Interesting challenge today for the Roos boys after the euphoric win last week against North Launceston. A come from behind win. Different challenge today against Glenorchy.
So down it goes. Well won by Duffy. On the wing is Joseph, I think, wrapped up. No free kick coming, so it'll be a stoppage.
What they have been, Gilly, is incredibly even throughout the season, haven't they? They've had a lot of close matches. Only lost the 2, Clarence, but gee, they've been competitive right from the word go this year.
Absolutely handing out, and here's Seymour. I liked his game last week. Powers a kick, looking in the nil direction, but Jay Bowden mops up. Measures one, finds Rainbird on the wing. He turns and goes. An unfashionable kick, but a beautiful one. Picks out Geared. So Geared looking in Walker's direction, and he was all on his own there, Walker. Got some space on Williamson and used it to great effect. Puts a kick in board, and the wind has interrupted that one, no question. Dickinson back, takes the kick. Oh, it's a dangerous defensive kick, and it's cut off from Daly. Not sure you'll get the journey from here with the wind wreaking havoc. He'll look for an option, you'd think. He stares into the pocket, looking for Bierman or Camerick. Camerick got hands to it, but couldn't complete the grab. Wrapped up in a tackle. Going nowhere. Stoppage.
He'd be disappointed with that Camerick. It sort of fell, the ball dropped for him, and it was virtually an uncontested mark. So an opportunity there miss for Glenorchy. Two players are going to have to be right on their foot skills today, Anthony. We've seen a lot of kicks just confusing in the air, whether or not it's dropped short or some kicks have carried, as you mentioned already in the call.
Absolutely. So Jackson O'Brien with the free kick here. Defensive 50 for the Roos. Spearing kick there, intercepted by Gunther. Goes inside 50 looking for Joseph, who takes the mark on the chest. Also in some good goal kicking form, and he's been infringed with there.
That'd be 50, wouldn't it?
It should definitely be 50, I'd be thinking.
You wonder whether Williamson thought that was touched or something, the way he followed it up. It has to be 50, doesn't it?
The umpire doesn't think so Matthew Joseph will have the shot on goal. But yeah, like you said, Gilly, it was almost like just laying the tackle immediately. Didn't seem to know what was going on, but Matthew Joseph becoming a good goal-kicking option in recent times for the Magpies. 5 goals a couple of weeks ago. As he begins his approach, this wind is going to cause some havoc. But he makes no mistake. That one's straight through the middle, and the Pies have their third and are up and about early at KG5.
Well, early in this game, just 23 minutes into the first quarter, but a few worrying signs for mine for the Roos. I'll need to regroup here at quarter time, maybe try and pinch one before the end of this quarter, but I like the intensity around the footy from Glenorchy. They're certainly providing some run and carry. I like their work off half back. A couple of defensive efforts from Grant have been good. Gunther as well on that occasion, and Clarence just might have to lower their eyes a little bit. The last forward foray inside 50 was a bomb, which Glenorchy transitioned really smartly.
So Glenorchy on top here at KG5 and out of the middle again. Daly, the kick forward looking for Walker. Can't bring it under his spell. It trickles out of play.
Terrific Taylor Williamson last week, wasn't he, Gilly? Different sort of a matchup for him today. Walker does have some natural athleticism. He's led him to the ball 2 or 3 times already today. But Williamson is in really good form.
He's indeed being tested early. Walker wins the hit out. Oh, goes for a ride on the back there. I'll try and work it out through hands. Clarence. They find a target in the end. Harper. He loses it though. Webb inside has an option. It's Bank Smith. Little one in board. Duffy on the lead.
Thought he was really good early, Ryan Banksmith. We've mentioned him a few times in the call. Wouldn't have been far away for mine from Allies selection. Had a pretty consistent carnival under 18 Div 2 for Tasmania. And it was a smart kick. He had some nice early touches and didn't blaze away there, and just saw his big ruckman and honoured the lead.
He's a very good ruckman in the middle, but if he can put away goals, he adds some real value to this Magpies lineup. Lining up for the Magpies fourth. Off the right boot, it hangs out there. The wind really held it up, halted its momentum. In the end, off hands and out for a throw-in.
I reckon tactically, Glenorchy might have thrown Jay Bowden behind the footy now just to try and shore it up and make sure they can hold on to this 3-goal lead coming in a quarter time. Smart move.
25 and change gone. Brownie, sun beaming down, but wind wreaking havoc. Away from the stoppage comes Jones, a tumbling ball. Hope picks it up on debut. Drops it off for Dickinson. Long and strong. Out in front of Castle. Cox arrives. Bowden there as the extra, and he'll get on the end of this one. Hands out. Finds Grant. Has a bounce. And that will be quarter time here at KG5. The Magpies up. What should we do? You're just recording. We may as well call it. Inside 50 it goes. Sorry, back with a restart. Scrambling out a kick. Gathered by Castle. He loses it, but he was held. It'll be a free kick to start things. Tim Castle with a shot at goal. Early second term. He's become a dangerous forward. Played for so long in defence. Swung forward has proven a really good coaching move by Jeremy Webley.
We've seen a couple of these just hold up at the last minute, Anthony, haven't we? Some of these set shots.
He goes out to the right. That just holds up. I don't know what the wind is doing here at KG5. Duffy sits under it and takes the grab. He's unpredictable, Anthony.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen some really inconsistent kicks on goal at both ends now. As Duffy gets a fair bit of meterage on that one. Getting the ball outside defensive 50. Jeremy Webley having a fine season, does the roving. And finds Trent Standen inside 50. Back into the side this week, and looking forward to seeing what he can do today, Brownie.
Well, we mentioned off air that we were hoping he would get a few touches early, just for his confidence, being a fair way out of the game. It'll be a difficult shot for him, but already Clarence with a couple of inside 50 marks to start this second quarter. I can't recall them taking any in the first quarter inside their forward 50.
I think you're right, Brownie.
So Trent Standen starts his approach. Try and use his difficult win. That one's just going to fall short. Duffy punches it through for a minor score.
It's pretty good in the first quarter, Duffy, I thought, up against probably the informed player in the competition, Ryan Bailey.
It's a big afternoon with respect to ruckman. We know Duffy was one of the key ruckmen last year as Camrick. Works his way out of defence, looking in the Walker direction. Williamson does well in that tussle. Down for Seymour, can't gather. Walker farms out a handball. Joseph, a little one over the top. He's got 3 in black and white running through. Webb, clever, but doesn't find his target. Farming out was Jones with a handball. Misses goal, and out it goes. So the Magpies with a significant advantage early in this game. 17-point lead. The ball to come back in. Bailey and Duffy, a good ruck duel. Bailey wins it this time, but straight down for Rainberg. Climbing on top was Harper. Cries for in the back. Not coming. So it'll be balled up.
Clarence with a +1 behind the footy. Looks like Brady Jones just parked himself inside the defensive 50.
Tipping out the back was Bailey. Daly grabs. He's crunched in a tackle. Gets the ball out though. Rainberg coming through. Loses the footy. Just trying to inch it forward here. The Pies in the end ends with a Gunther kick, and that's a missile.
In the back.
Straight into the arms of Walker, but as you correctly pointed out, Cam Brown, hands in the back of Williamson, so a let off for the Roos. Off for the skipper now in Jones, who negotiate. Oh, that's a shocking kick. Cut off by Bowden on the outside of his boot. It wasn't pretty, but boy, was it effective. Another on the board for Glenorchy, their 4th of the game.
It's actually a really smart goal, wasn't it? Because he was under a little bit of pressure and unconventional snap in the end. But, gee, a costly turnover from Brady Jones. I'll run the risk of sounding biased here on Harrison Gunther, but I really like the way that he just impacted that last inside forward 50 entry. He was the man for Glenorchy that was loose behind the footy. Just impacted at the right stage with that inside 50 entry. smart. You've got to know when to go when you're sitting as a defensive player in the back half, and really smart timing from him.
So Duffy wins that one down back in the middle and then chases after it and lays a strong tackle. Yeah, I think on Gunther we saw that kick in the opening term to set up Matty Joseph as well. It's the second start from him. Neither ruckman able to win that ball down. Jackson O'Brien at the bottom of the pack. Tries to funnel it out. And the umpire will take that one back again.
And he's been, as Gilly mentioned in the first quarter, he's been given time this year to settle into a role. Previously at TSL level, he's been thrown back and forward, but he's enjoying the continuity in his footy, playing in the defensive half.
Strong tackle there from Jeremy Weberly. The umpire decides just to let it go for a bit longer. He will take that one again. So, third ball up in quick succession. Duffy just gets a hand down. Straight to Weberly. Clarence with the numbers. Troy Cunliffe just floats that one to centre half forward. A bouncing ball. Joseph with some composure. Cunliffe coming up to clean up his own work. Lays a tackle. The umpire will take that one at centre half forward for the Clarence Roos. In favour of the Magpies.
Balled up. Contest more or less halved. There'll be yet another stoppage. Centre half forward for the Roos. They need a response.
They do, and look, we have high standards for Jake Cox, but just hasn't been able to get into the game in that first quarter. They'd love him to run and carry the footy, the Roos, in this second quarter.
Standard climbs on top of a Magpie. He doesn't hold it up though. Cunliffe with hands out the back. Jones, they're using him behind the footy today. The kick for Seymour, not bad. Gathers, kicking for Neild over his head. It's picked up.
Tackle.
It's a fantastic tackle. The Pies look on today. Their pressure terrific.
He's got some great athleticism, hasn't he, Josh Grant? He's had a pretty good season too for the Pies. Gee, nice kick.
That is a nice kick. Numbers went out for Clarence, but not for long. An errant kick lets in Roberts. He goes long. Jones there to mop up. Shields the sun from his eyes. Looks ahead at what's in front of him. A lot of numbers on that wing. A highly wind-affected game, this one. Spots one up inside. Handed back for Ling. Now back for Jones. That's a good kick. Finds Neild. Neild turns onto the left. A long high ball. It's held up in the wind. Wasn't read well by Silver. Out the back comes a Weberly. He can't get space to get it on the boot. He's brought down in a terrific tackle. Banksmith, bravo. They move it out of defence.
Yeah, fantastic tackle from Banksmith. Really strong start to the game from him as the Roos get a bit of transition play going. Webb over the top to Banksmith, driving that ball inside 50. Jay Bowden, the target, mops up the ball well, wheels around onto the right, bounces through for a goal. Jay Bowden kicks his third, and the Magpies are up and about at KG5.
Well, that came about because there's some terrific defensive pressure. And now there's going to be another free kick here, boys. It's going to go Glenorchy's way because of a push after the goal, if I've got this right.
I think you have, Cam. I think it'll be a Joseph kick.
Didn't see who did it, but gee, it's undisciplined when you're already 29 points down, Anthony.
Yeah, absolutely.
8 minutes into the second quarter. Why would you do it?
Yeah, it's a very good question, Cam. They're in a real spot of bother here, the Roos. As Joseph lines up. As you said, Anthony, been a handy goal kicker in recent times. He struck that beautifully. Never in doubt. And Glenorchy, well, this is getting out of control.
Well, you wonder, don't you? It's 35 points in tricky conditions, but the defensive pressure, I reckon you boys have called 4 or 5 holding the balls already today in favour of Glenorchy. They've all been there. They've just really hunted the ball carrier for the Roos. And then on the transition again, it was a lovely deep entry from Banksmith. And coming back to the first goal, which was the Jay Bowden snap, I didn't think his opponent did a lot wrong there. I thought he worked his way to the front, but we just know how deadly Jay is, and he snapped one across the body, but then undisciplined play from the Roos allows Joseph to score, and it's nearly 6-goal margin.
And Joseph making no mistake with the wind. As Clarence just hacked that ball to half forward through Harper. Neal will drive the ball, but straight into the Glenorchy player. Just sock it along the ground. The umpire says that is high. It's going to go the way of the Roos. Centre half forward here. Ball going inside 50. Seymour's thereabouts for Clarence, but the ball just bumbles out of his hands. Good tackle laid there by Seymour. Jake Cox floating around. The umpire's whistle. Free kick to Glenorchy. High contact there from Standen. So Mitch Rainbird, plenty of the ball in that opening term with the free kick in the back pocket. Short little one there to Jack Stevenson. Another player who's slotted into this Glenorchy side this season. He goes down the line. Plenty of bodies around this ball. Just gets out the back. Jeremy Webberley just bustles his way through. Gets it on the boot. Mitch Rainbird will chase this one and probably take it over the boundary line, and he does. Have a throw in. No, umpire's call. Just missed what that one was actually for there, Gilly. Not too sure.
Just a little afters maybe from Rainbird. No, it's going the way of Glenorchy. Yeah,
so
not sure at all.
So Jack Stevenson take the ball right in front of the interchange gate. High ball down the line. Duffy with the sit. Spoil comes over the top. Chambers to Jones. Jones wrapped up in a tackle, but still gets the handball free. Ling tries to bustle his way through. Good tackle again from the Magpies. They're hungry as Callan Daly kicks the ball along the ground. Jay Bowden does the same. And the Magpies through Bierman get another goal. Fantastic finish from Bierman. They just manufactured something out of nothing there, the Magpies. And they are up and about.
Yeah, clever play by Jay Bowden just to get it forward. And Bierman, in his short TSL career, we've already seen that he has some really smart forward craft, knows where the goals are. Just seems to be the left of screen. Some of the entries and transition disposals from Glenorchy just carrying a little bit further, don't they? So it makes that first quarter from Glenorchy look even better, because it would appear that kicks are favouring the left of screen somewhat significantly more.
No question. Chambers now with a tumbling ball. Cunliffe, not his best handball at all, doesn't meet its target. Shucked by Mott. He powers one forward. Good body work by Jones. They'll work it out now. Ling to Webberley. Clarence need their prime movers to get into this game. That's a good kick. It finds its target in Brenner. So Brenner, crowded forward line, a lot of black and white back there, and that's where he kicks it.
That's the kick that they've been able to pick off right from the word go today, the Pies.
Gunther looks forward. Bailey didn't claim the mark. Duffy did well and invites in Daly, who just rips away. Great work. Great kick. Banksmith. Eyes goal. And it's another. This is crazy stuff. Glenorchy are running rampant.
They certainly are. And it was brilliant ball use from Daly. He didn't have a lot to his left, and he could have easily just blazed away, but just had the presence of mind to look right, Aussie, and then he saw Ryan Banksmith, who's had a terrific 40 or so minutes of footy. He just steady, composed, kicked the goal. What a brilliant start for the second quarter for the Pies. I think that's 5 they've kicked in the opening 13 minutes.
Absolutely. Glenorchy up and about at the moment. The ball back in the middle. Ryan Bailey flies. Duffy with the tap down. So all Glenorchy at the moment. So they're working the ball inside 50. Banksmith there again. Spearing ball looking for Jay Bowden. He finds it. Plenty of the ball for him so far today. Already with the 3 goals. That one straight into the man on the mark. Bailey does well. But again, a turnover. Banksmith going long inside 50. Williamson competing there for the Roos. Clarence able to mop it up. Chambers hurried kick, but straight to a Magpie. Comes in, and it's another mark to Jay Bowden inside 50.
Well,
don't know how many he's taken now, but he is really on song.
It is difficult conditions. We've said that a few times, but Glenorchy's just to spot up the superstar in Jay Bowden. they've been really smart. They've been prepared to go long when they needed. They've lowered their eyes on different occasions, and they've varied some of their inside 50 entries, which has made it really difficult for the Clarence back half.
So Jay Bowden approaching for his 4th goal of the day. That one just missing the right-hand side. Minor score. Glenorchy 8-3-51. Clarence 3 behinds. 14.5 gone. Second term at KG5.
It's about his first mistake of the day. They bring it out of defence now, Clarence. They've made tough work of this. That's a good grab, though, from Bailey. Leans back and takes it, arms stretched. Inboard, finds Cox. A little nudgy pass. It's cut off by Gunther. He's been terrific. Looking for Rainbird, just misses him. Cox now, can he light up the ruse? Comes to Chambers. Off. Long onto the wing. Tipped away off hands. Rainbird there. Just parks himself for a while. Holds up and looks for an option. And he's got a couple. Running inside 50 now. The Magpies, they're on fire here. Tips out the back. Joseph. He'll pick it up. Out for Bowden. He has time to spin around and have a look, but it's the wrong side of the woodwork. A minor score.
Gee, he was given too much time and space, though, wasn't he there, Jay Bowden? He was just able to sit, wait for the handball receive. And normally he'd kick those. A couple of let-offs for the Roos. Just trying to struggle to see where the goals are going to come from at this stage, Gilly.
Jones looking for Seymour. Punched away from him, and that's the sort of desperation we've seen from the Magpies today. Harrison Gunther, I've really liked his game. I know I've got an ally in you, Cam Brown, but he's been terrific.
No argument from me.
So 8-4-52 plays, no goals, 3 behinds the Roos. I don't think anyone saw this coming into this contest. The wind has been a fair factor, but it seems to be that Glenorchy did some damage against it in the first term. Off hands now, Harper, maybe in his back. No, says the umpire. Cowie out of defence. This will be cut off by Joseph.
Another one of my favourites, Daniel Joseph. Just a beautiful user of the footy. Gee, they've welcomed back him with open arms since being at Aspley last year.
Look at that, laser-like off the left. There's a whistle, advantage, and another one for Joseph. Wowee, what can you say? This is brilliant stuff from the Magpies. They're 9th of the day, and it is getting well and truly out of control, and it looks like they're going to be on their way to a big upset win against the old enemy.
Well, that was Joseph, wasn't it? That's his 3rd. And, Anthony, you called it. He's been a reliable goal kicker this season. I think he had a breakout game where he kicked 5. I think they might have thrown him forward in that particular stage of the game out of necessity, and they've really found one there. That's his 3rd for the day on top of Bowden, who's kicked 3.
So back in the middle, Bailey just mistimes his jump. Plenty of bodies around this ball, and the umpire will take it back.
They just looked a bit sparkless even in the first 5 or 10 minutes, Clarence, didn't they? Their body language, their energy levels just didn't look like they were right on, and the Pies have made them pay in the first 50 minutes of this game.
Brody Jones running off the square there. He's wrapped up. Ball just gets clear. Rainbird at the back. He's been busy today. Trying to find Webb. The ball just flying around everywhere inside that pack. Reese Mott's thereabouts as well. Rainbird again gets on the end of it. Just barrels that ball inside 50 looking for Joseph. Bit of holding there from Matty Joseph. Will be a free kick going the way of Alex Gall. Chris Neild and Matty Joseph just having a bit of a chat. So that ball looking for Seymour is mapped up by Callan Daly. Snaps the ball inside 50 looking for Bowden. He was competing with Jones, but Jason Bailey does really well and drives that ball out of defence.
He does, looking for Castle. Yet to track it down. He's got good defensive pressure, potentially in the back of Castle. No, says the umpire. It will be thrown in. Centre wing, far side here at KG5.
It's been difficult for the mid-sized forwards, Dickinson, Silva. They've just struggled to get some supply and have any impact on the game so far for the Roos.
Well, that's just it, Brownie. They haven't been able to get it into their forward half nearly enough. When they have, the Glenorchy defence has been superb in floating across and cutting it off. So, back underway. Walker with a hit out. Emerges from the pack. No one can really gather a slippery footy. Webb hands out the back for Stevenson. A little one for Joseph. He goes back for Stevenson. Beautiful hand pass.
Great.
Stevenson now for Mott. Juggling effort. Neild irons him out. Daly comes away from it. He's on fire today, the little man. Who else is? Bowden. Doesn't take the grab.
Front on contact.
But he'll get a free kick. Jay Bowden. Every now and then just comes to the footy and decides he's having a day out. And today is one of those days. He's on fire. It was beautiful play from Callan Daly in the lead-up.
Reece Mott is gathered up on his feet, which is good news. This will be is it the fourth goal of the quarter for Jay Bowden? I think it is.
It's tough to keep
for the quarter.
Tough to keep track, Brownie, and that's because he is on song. Another through the sticks. Jay Bowden and the Magpies are storming away here on their home deck.
That's his fourth Aussie. He's just a handful. I want to give a mention too to young Jack Stevenson. You mentioned him earlier on in the call, Aussie, and I think he's just looked more composed as he's been playing at this level. I think his first or second year of TSL footy, he had a taste at under-18 Mariners this year. He's got next year to go as well, but I've really liked his work off half-back today, and he's made some really good decisions by hand and foot, just lowered his eyes there to set up that inside 50 entry for Glenorchy.
So back in the middle, Duffy roving his own ball. Back with the flight. Courageous mark taken there from young Adam Roberts.
Boys, this is a hiding. 62 points.
Looking for Bowden, just caught behind. Daly is bullocking his way out of the contest. Only finds Seymour. He chips the ball over the top looking for Ling. But again, the Roos just unable to get an easy disposal at the moment. Glenorchy all over them. Once again, that ball's taken off there by Jay Bowden.
I was going to say he'll kick it tall. Look at this.
That is a huge kick from Jay Bowden. Just punched over the line by Alex Gall. And yeah, he's certainly on song today, is Jay Bowden.
He's almost entertaining himself now. 63-point margin.
So that one cut off there by James Webb. He's got options aplenty inside 50. But he looks like he might even just back himself in here, James Webb. Certainly knows how to hit the scoreboard. This would take some of his best work. Might get some assistance from this wind.
I was about to say, Anthony.
We have seen it wreak a bit of havoc today. So he makes his approach now. Gets a fair slice of it. It's just going to fall short. The Flyers are there. Matty Joseph does the roving. Wrapped up. Cries a free kick, but the umpire will ball it up. Forward pocket for Glenorchy.
We've seen Glenorchy a few times this year, Gilly. Certainly the best game we've seen Daly play.
No question.
He's looked real lively across half forward.
So they contest in the ruck. Maybe held without it there. Clarence Ruckman.
You mentioned earlier, Brownie, just Clarence lacking that spark, and we've seen from Callan Daly those bursts away from the pack. He really is providing plenty at the moment.
So tipped down to Rainbird. He's been terrific. Bowden now doing the defensive stuff, and it's out of play. Be thrown in. So 10 goals to none here at KG5.
We've just got to try and get something out of this, Clarence, before half time.
Easier said than done, Brownie. The way Glenorchy are playing their footy. This one's tipped out the front. Cunliffe first to arrive. They'll make it out of defensive 50 now through Chambers. Bailey contesting. Down for Webley. Turns. That's terrific from the coach. Finds a little bit of space out in front of Castle. Castle. Oh, it's very well done by Brennan. He did well. It looked like Castle was going to gallop onto that one and run into forward 50, but Brennan just halted his momentum. Aaron Brennan, that is. And the ball will be thrown in. Bailey and Walker. Bailey with a good fist. Spinning was Bank Smith. He's been great as well. Not too many Magpies that haven't been good.
Well, although their form's been a bit patchy since, ironically, since the last time these two teams played, they got it back on track with a win last week. But, I'll come back to that in a second. Sorry, boys.
As it's down and gathered from Harper. He's looking inside forward 50. Coming across with Stevenson. Didn't take the mark, but butted up. He's caught one in the back there, I reckon, Stevenson. The umpire with a decision to make, and he's gone with holding the ball.
Yeah, the point I was going to say, that they've still got 4 or 5 players out of their best 22, Glenorchy, so there's plenty to play for in terms of the competitive nature for spots. We've mentioned Webb, Butterworth, Dilger, Webster, Quinn's not in the team today.
So Clarence yet to kick a goal this afternoon, and we are 24 and change into the second quarter. Tim Castle comes on in, nudges at it. Oh, I tell you what, it nearly was a behind, but it just sneaks through. And it is an understatement to say Clarence needed that one.
Yeah, well, Clarence obviously have kicked the first 10, and in the end, young Stevenson probably a little bit unlucky. He was just caught over the ball, and the umpires often want you to make an effort in those situations. Sometimes the coaches also don't want you to cough it up, so it becomes a loose ball get for the opposition. So he probably wore the holding the ball there for his team, and unfortunately for him, decision went against him. Castle kicks the first for the Roos, albeit the 25-minute mark of the second quarter.
And on the other side, 10 goals going the way of the hosts. We're back in the middle. Bailey wins that one down. Troy Cunliffe just trying to compose himself. The umpire says he copped one high, so he'll take the free kick in the middle here for Clarence. Just floats that one inside 50, looking for Trent Hope. Strong mark taken by Hope.
Debutant today.
Yeah, started the game in defence. He kicked quite a few goals in the Mercury Cup earlier in the year. He goes inside 50 looking for Castle. That one just dribbles out the back to Neild, then finds Dickinson, floats it over the top to Webley, to Brenner, to goal. Clarence with 2 in a minute. Took them almost 2 quarters to get there first, but they now have 2 on the board, and just like that first one, they really, really needed it.
He's a player, Brenner, has just been on the fringe of this Clarence team for a while, so it's important for him today that he can in the right spot then to receive the handball from. Back to 51 points, and it certainly could have been a lot worse for Glenorchy. We saw Jay Bowden miss a couple that we normally get, and at least they've been able to stem the flow going into half-time.
So back in the middle, if they could get another one, maybe change thoughts on the first half, but it has been a dominant half from Glenorchy. O'Brien in there bustling around. They go again through Cunliffe, and he's caught one high. So it'll be a clearing kick, you'd think, from the Roos. Instead, hands off. Dickinson operating off half back. He goes long. Again, the advantage to the Magpies. Hope does well. Finds O'Brien. A little one over the top for Chambers. Chambers looks to a crowd of 50. Opts to go short. Hope gets hands to it. Can't complete the grab. Mops up off the ground. Well done, Trent Hope. Kicking was Chambers again. Brenner almost takes the grab. Out the back to Cunliffe. Cunliffe now. Try and bend this one home. And he has. Wowee. No goals in, 50 minutes of footy. And they've kicked 3 in no time. And maybe back in this contest.
I think that's 10 for this quarter, Aussie. So we're 28, just about to touch into the 28-minute mark. So there's probably 3 or 4 minutes left in this quarter. Gee, it was a powerful kick from Cunliffe in the end. The way those kicks have been happening in the first part of this game, they've been holding up in the breeze, but he got some real penetration, really drove through it. Great finish, 3 in a row to the Roos.
So Clarence looking to head into the main break with their heads up. That one there can be mopped up by Ling at half-back for Clarence. The Magpies still pressing here. The umpire will take that ball as the siren sounds. So the Roos have perhaps changed the narrative a little bit with 3 late goals in this half, but still will be Glenorchy taking a very strong lead into the main break there, Gilly.
They'll enter the sheds with some positivity now, Clarence, just the way they finished it, but it was a pretty bleak half of footy, and it's an almighty mountain to climb now. So back for the second half. Glenorchy 10-5-65. The Roos 3-3-21. An almighty mountain for the Clarence Roos to climb. They were the form team of the competition coming in today against a fierce enemy, Glenorchy. And so far, they've been well and truly bested by the Glenorchy Magpies, who've been on fire, it has to be said. 10-goal half from them. So back in the middle, thrown up, Duffy and Bailey. Bailey swats at it. Webley gets it moving. Comes to Cunliffe. He's claimed in a tackle, and they're away now through Webb. Puts it Glenorchy's way, hits Matty Joseph, doesn't complete the grab, runs it out of play. Another forward entry for the Magpies.
Really nice release there from the centre bounce from Camerick. That allowed Webb to thrust that one forward for the Pies to start the third quarter.
So, thrown in. Down from Walker. Comes a Rainbird. Not his best kick. Out in front of the intended target. I think it was Bierman. Scrambling out a kick. It's Clarence. Castle does well. Picks it up through hands. Looking for Silver. He couldn't gather. Almost cut it off here, Glenorchy. Brenner does okay. Camerick interrupts it. Slaps it on the boot. A tumbling punt. Bailey does well. Eludes Walker. And drives a kick for Seymour. He's got some space to run onto it. Seymour inside 50. The kick just short of the intended target, Neil. Cut off by Gunther. And it'll be free kick. Copping one high. It was young Stevenson. Been pretty impressive.
Yeah, really liked his first half. His ball use and his defensive pressure was really good.
So Stevenson looking in the Bowden direction. Over his head and out of bounds. Jay Bowden been terrific so far this afternoon. The sun was here on show in the first half and it's disappeared now. Very chilly afternoon. Despite the Magpies being on fire. Duffy tips forward. Comes to Camerick. Just keeps it alive on the outside of the boot. Bowden runs towards it. Bailey hands off. Rainbird along the line. In fact, out on the full. So it'll be a Clarence kick from the outer wing.
So Ling passes it off to Brady Jones. Receives it back from him. Goes inboard to Williamson. Working really hard here is Ling, but he's run down brilliantly. Fantastic tackle laid by Adam Roberts. Another one of those young Glenorchy players who's really made an impact this season. He dishes off to Rainbird, who drives inside 50. It's been busy today. And a great mark taken inside 50. Again, Glenorchy able to find a target. And a strong mark taken by young Bailey Bester.
He's been lively. He plays with some really good energy. We mentioned earlier on the call, just talking to Nathan Fole off air about this boy before the game. Nathan, of course, a premiership player at Glenorchy and assistant coach. Really likes the potential in this kid since coming back to the club via Claremont. Gets an opportunity for a goal here.
So Bester makes his approach. The kick is on target. He gets his first, and the Glenorchy Magpies start the second half like they did the first. A goal in the opening couple of minutes.
And what has just been a key feature of their game today, boys, has been their ability to tackle and tackle successfully. They've won, I reckon, 6 or 7 holding the ball decisions, and that was the turnover created. And a nice finish there too. Good for his confidence. Young Bester. As we mentioned just before half-time, a lot of competition for spots going forward for Glenorchy today. 4 or 5 out of their best 22, you would think. And some of these guys are really putting their hand up and wanting a permanent selection in this team for Glenorchy.
So both ruckmen miss it. They scramble it out through Webb to Glenorchy. Ling claims it, hands off for Cowie, off half back, bolting away. Kick on the outer side, looking for Silver. And it runs out of play, doesn't find its intended target. And it goes, it will be thrown in. So a 50-point margin here at KG5. We arrived at the football hoping for a tight contest like we got last weekend. Not to be. Slapped on the boot. Kept moving. Was geared. Well cut off from Jones. He wanted to play on. He's run into all sorts of trouble. Bailey Bester all over him like a cheap suit. Wins himself a free kick. So well done from Bester. really making an impact on selection in the side. There's arguably hands in the back there from Bailey. No free kick though, so he completes the mark. Looks long down the line, the wind howling here. KG5 gets some extra distance on it as a result. Glenorchy handball it out the back. Weberly eyeing it off, tunnelling through. Just keeping it moving is Clarence. They run out of tarmac. Out of bounds.
The ball will be thrown in half forward here for the Roos. 5 and a bit played in this third term. Duffy wins that one down. That one rolled straight back over the line, and we'll have a replay of that contest.
All one-on-ones in the forward half for Clarence, so it's not going to be easy here for the Roos if they do win it from the boundary throw-in.
Duffy wins that one down. Weberly working well there for Clarence, but Glenorchy able to get that ball out of defensive 50. Only as far as Jones. He gets the handball off to O'Brien. Drifting kick will go out of bounds on the full. They just haven't had those clean inside 50s, have they, all day, Brownie?
No, apart from probably the last 5 minutes, Aussie, they just didn't have any cleanless inside the forward 50, as you mentioned, and it's been really difficult for them. A bit of a slog apart from those last 5 minutes late before half time.
So both sides just struggling with the breeze a little bit there. A couple of out of bounds on the full in a row. So Clarence will get this ball back here through Brody Jones.
It's been difficult for the Clarence forwards if we look at the moment. Castle's tried hard. Neild hasn't been able to get into the game at all. He's been blanketed by Gunther.
Ball goes inside 50.
That's the one they've been able to pick off all day long. Grant and Gunther with some really good defensive spoils. And we know, Arnold's been a terrific player, state player, Joseph as well. So they've got some experience back there, the Pies, and it's just made it really difficult for people like Dickinson, Silver, Standen to get into the game.
Yeah, Trent Standen barely sided, it must be said. Had that one shot on goal in the last quarter. Ball thrown in, one down by Duffy. Clarence scrambled the ball, Glenorchy scrambled the ball out of defensive 50. Plenty of bodies around this contest. As Glenorchy again, scrambling kick. But Brady Jones done that a bit so far today, just mopping the ball up half back. He goes inboard to Brenner.
He was good last week, Brady Jones. It's a really good move in the back half for him, I think, and his team.
Moves the ball forward. Ryan Bailey, the target. That one slapped out of bounds for a throw-in. 450 for the Roos.
Boys, I just wonder if you're Clarence and this game, unless something happens in the last 5 or 10 minutes, is obviously going to be beyond them. If you do just throw the magnets around and just see what you might be able to get out of this game in the second half, with a view to, looking ahead to the second half of the season, finals coming up, and you just might find something out about a player by just throwing him in a different spot. Been difficult for Standard. Maybe you put him up on the wing, just let him run at the ball. Do you throw a Jason Bailey forward? We know he's been a terrific backman, but we didn't know much about Castle as a forward going back 4 or 5 weeks ago.
Don't mind it. Try something. There's a message from Cam Brown. I reckon it's probably an that one. As again, tackling pressure on the ball carrier. It's 50-point margin. And as you said, Brownie, next 5 or so minutes, unless they kick some goals quickly.
Well, I just think Cox off the half-back line, even Dickinson with his left foot, just might be worth just trying something and finding out a little something about a player that you didn't know coming into this game. Just try and salvage something out of it. Still, they'll still think that their best is good enough to get back into this game, the Roos, but I think if they don't do something in the next 5 or 10 minutes, it's all over.
So again, down from the ruck contest, massive numbers around the ball here. It's a rolling maul, more or less. Very hard for either team to break their way out of congestion. So 9.5 minutes gone in this third quarter. It's been not much of a quarter, to be honest. Farmed out. At the back was Castle, and went under him. Neild with a good pick-up. He looks back for Harper, through his hands. They're gathering through Brennan now, the Pies. On the outer wing is Bowden. Oh, that is smart stuff. Tips it on to young Bester. He couldn't handle the hot footy. Tipping back, Jones. Shrugs a tackle. Not really in the end. They'll move it out. Will they? The Roos? No. There's a good tackle coming on Harper. A tackle that saw it out of bounds. So a throw in far side here at KG5. The sun, a distant memory. A game where wind has had a big say on how things have been played. And it's safe to say Glenorchy have adjusted to the wind better than their opposition. Long high kick from Harper. Extra yardage on that one thanks to the wind. Here's Standen. Picks it up. Drops it back for Seymour. Hands over the top. Running onto it was Cunliffe. He goes in for Weberly. And he's caught one high here, Jeremy Weberly.
Boys, I can't see Jake Cox out there. See if you can spot him for me. Looking down at the Clarence bench and also can't see him there.
You're usually able to spot him with the long sleeves. I can't see him either. So that may be a story out of the afternoon, Brownie. Weberly opts to pass off. Don't make anything of this one. Birchall was unable to complete the mark. Running through was Harper. He gathers, swung in a tackle. Another stoppage.
Yeah, I just noticed when Clarence were running back to take their positions at the start of this third quarter, only 3 people went to the interchange bench. Sometimes we see someone come back in late who might have been getting some medical attention, but I don't think he's out there.
I think you're right, Brownie. Which doesn't bode well for much more than today's game. Hopefully he's all good. Another stoppage. Seen a fair bit of this in footy in general, Brownie. Heavy stoppage games, a lot of numbers around the ball. There's a whistle there. Be a free kick for Bailey. He'll have a rare look at it.
Yeah, just holding on there, Duff, in the ruck. You're right though, Gilly. It's all about the forward press, getting numbers in, locking the ball in your forward half, trying to get repeat inside 50 entries until you do score. And sometimes it just makes it so very hard for the opposition to get it out of that zone. Sometimes you have to run it out by hand.
So Bailey, from well beyond the paint, he lets it ride. It's drifted out of bounds on the full. So Glenorchy will have their chance to get it out of defensive half through a kick in.
It's going to be Jay Bowden to take this ball out of defence here for Glenorchy. Good meterage on that one, up for the contest. Man flies, Walker at the back. He dishes the hands off to Benny Camrick. Having a good season. He looks for James Webb. Just able to beat Brady Jones in the one-on-one. Camrick moves really well out of that contest. Kicks it forward down the line, but there is no one there for either side. Clarence able to mop up through Dickinson. He goes inboard to Jones. Unable to complete the pass there as Callan Daly mops it up. Shrugs the tackler. High up and under to half forward is marked by the Roos. So Ryan Cowie becoming a solid member of this Clarence side. He looks to make the switch to Neil to risky ball. Jackson O'Brien's there for support. He goes over and finds Trent Hope. Debut today. Good tackle laid by Camrick. And Clarence coughed the ball up once more. Glenorchy heading inside 50, looking for the target. Strong mark taken there by Ryan Cowie.
Really good mark.
A couple of good moments for the youngster in the last couple of minutes. He goes to Fletcher Seymour. Another good recruit this season. He goes over the top, just misses Jared Harper's hands. Walker and Gunther in pursuit of him, and he goes out wide. Troy Cunliffe there for the Roos. That ball out of bounds. Throw in at half forward for Clarence.
Good challenge next week too, Aussie, for Glenorchy. I think they've got Launceston at home, back-to-back road trips for the Blues.
And they went down by a point to the Blues a couple of weeks ago, the Magpies. They'll head into that match with confidence. Back live here at KG5. The ball just scrambling around. Jay Bowden just barrels the ball out of defence. Brady Jones leading the foot race back for it. Adam Roberts there as well. Bester also impacts the contest. That one out of bounds. Brady Jones fighting himself in the thick of it. Good call there, Gilly. Brady Jones receiving the free kick. He's had plenty of the ball in this term.
you, it's labour intensive for the Roos, isn't it? It's a slow build-up. There's not a lot of movement. They're trying to get something going the other side, but in the end they go down the line, which will suit Glenorchy.
Hands in the back potentially there. No, says the umpire. Banksmith farms out, cut off, back the other way through Birchall. Just a hurried kick.
Watch Glenorchy spread though, conversely.
The spread they do. Joseph to Arnold. Now they're on the move. Back for Bowden. He's brought his own share into the football today.
Gilly, I reckon the Roos kicked 3 in about 4 minutes. So basically, take that out, and in 70 minutes of footy, they haven't scored.
A lot of dead footy for the Roos, it has to be said, as O'Brien tries to hand out. Duffy gets involved. It comes for Walker. He goes on a little burst. A good kick for Brennan. It holds up in the mud, though. Hope comes through. Can't gather through the legs of Brennan. I think it's beaming at the end of all that, caught in the tackle. Fair to say, this quarter won't go down in the classics.
No, we're looking for a spark here too, boys. Just someone to light us up with something magic.
High there on Dickinson. So he'll take a kick off half back. He's got standing offering, ignores that. Interesting option, but Castle makes it look okay. Picks it up and powers in the nil direction. One grab, couldn't take the second. Stevenson caught high. Be free kick. Geez, I think there's been a lot of that, to be honest.
This is his best
50.
game at the level, young Stevenson.
So 50, it was protected area. He's been good, Stevenson. Liked his game a lot.
Yeah, he'll be certainly an exciting player to watch next year.
Out onto the wing. Camerick now on a break. Little ball. Williamson, I thought he took it on the half volley, but Mark paid. Good slips catch. Williamson, little one over the top. Chambers.
Come with me, I reckon.
Yep, come with me, says the umpire. 50. Wasn't in the contest. You'd make a good umpire, Cam.
Definitely something going on with Jake Cox, isn't there? We're up to the 17-minute mark of the third quarter, and no sign of him. He might have the
Chambers
tracksuit on.
Goes long and strong, looking for Cunliffe. He arrives but couldn't take the grab. Grant now negotiates the situation. Wasn't a bad ball for Brennan, but couldn't take the grab. Hope drops it cold. Arrives for Dickinson. Over the top to Brenner. 1 bite, 2 bites. So the Cherry takes the mark. Play on the call. He goes long. Who's the option?
That's just the one that Glenorchy have thrived on right from the opening minutes. Good defensive mark from Walker.
Was good from Walker. He finds Geared, who steers it nicely out of defence. They've lacked a target today, Clarence. It's been their small forward line that's really worked for them in most weeks, and that's a good grab from Duffy. Comes out and takes it. Outstretched arms. But today, they just have lacked a big gorilla to bring them down when they've powered long and high inside 50.
Yeah, absolutely. That ball half back here for Clarence. Just scrambled away down the line. Again, Bowden just mopping it up. It's been influential in half back so far this term. One bouncing into the favour of the Roos. Floating kick finds Chris Neal. No one forward.
Oh, boy,
so he's just going to back himself in. It's a bouncing ball, a dribbling ball. Just goes through for a minor score.
Well, maybe fair enough in the end. I just thought Aussie had no one working for him, and Glenorchy had 3 numbers back there. I thought he had an opportunity to just wait for some of his teammates to run into open space, but elected to take the game on.
Needed a spark, so he certainly put it on himself, but unable to complete in the end. So Glenorchy just working the ball out of defence here. Good work there by Troy Cunliffe. Punches the ball out of bounds. Will have a throw in. Almost played 20 minutes in this quarter. Safe to say not a lot has really been happening. That 1 goal early for Glenorchy. Quite a stalemate since then. Clarence desperate to have a late run like they did in the second term. That one won down decisively by Duffy. Troy Cunliffe wrapped up in the tackle. We'll have another throw in. No. Thought the umpire might have given the free kick.
He wanted the free kick, Camerick. Haven't they tackled well today, Glenorchy? Been a key feature of their game.
So the ball comes in. Duffy and Bailey competing. Duffy wins that one down yet again. Jackson O'Brien trying to chase after it. Again, Ben Camerick, fantastic tackle. The umpire rewards him again. Ben Camerick having a good couple of minutes here. Just gives a few words to Ashton Dickinson as well. He was inboard to Josh Grant. Just assessing his options at halfback. Short ball there finds Joseph. Wheels around onto the left looking for Reece Mott. An absolute bullet of a pass.
No problem with a breeze for that man. He's just about the best kick in the competition.
Slotted seamlessly into this Glenorchy lineup. Bowden at half forward. Dishes the ball back. Little 1-2. Gets it again. Hammers the ball inside 50. Looking for the target. Roberts is there. Punches the ball over the top. Parker. Roberts again. Clarence just scrambling here, trying to get the ball out. They do so successfully. Down the line. Ball really drifted in the breeze. No player able to get the sit. And this ball's going to come back with interest here. Glenorchy been happy to hammer the ball in. And like you said, Gilly, Clarence haven't had that big target inside 50. Glenorchy have had them. And they've been able to really target them when moving forward.
Yeah, they have. They have indeed. At times they've played Parker, Grant and Gunther all in defence, but they've had Parker mainly as a forward today, and it's allowed them just to float Bowden wherever the footy is. Geared now. Manufactures a kick, slapping and almost gathered. Bailey will scramble out a kick off hands and then through to Dickinson. He goes long onto the wing. The coach is there, Webberley. Almost took it, not quite out of bounds.
We mentioned the players that Glenorchy have had out today, but gee, they've missed Holmes, haven't they, Clarence? We've just been so used to him setting up behind the footy. He just knows when to run and carry. He's brave in the air, able to match up on different size opponents. They've sorely missed him today.
Daly bursts through. Finds Banksmith. Now hands for Mott. A good kick, a measured kick. Finds Bowden. There's a whistle. So it'll be downfield, I think. Bowden will shoot for, this is fifth.
Yep.
So
smart kick again, wasn't it? Just to lower the eyes, onto the lead. Just the ball use going inside 50 has been a real contrast between both of the teams today. He's missed a couple today, the champ.
He could have had a real day out if he'd been accurate. So Bowden marches on in, off the right peg, stabs at it, and it went right. So a minor score. Kicking's let him have that sort of exclamation mark on what's been a fantastic game. A barrel from Jones, and that's come off wonderfully well. Over the head of Webberley, tapping forward was Joseph. Good hands from Daly. Cut off by Grant. And Brenner tries to chisel a kick. It's blocked. Stevenson with hands to Mott. Out the back to Joseph. Inboard. Williamson cuts it off.
He's been pretty solid, Williamson. Had the job on Walker throughout this game.
That's a good kick. Finds Standen. Hasn't had a heap of it. Unsure what to do with it. In the end, hands out for Ling. A little one over the top. Finds the coach, Webberley. Webberley, what's he got on offer? That's a great kick. Finds Seymour. Just put it right on his chest. Fletcher Seymour had a good game last weekend. A little quieter this afternoon. This one on the chest and kneeled and then out.
I was really surprised the second quarter didn't go longer. I think that went about 28 or 29 minutes, Anthony. And this one, we just had the one goal for this quarter, so I don't think there's a lot of time left. I'm just wondering if they have got Trent Standen across half-back line. I like that move, just to try and get him involved in the game.
He's starting back off the contest here. Half forward for the Roos. Ball out of bounds once more. They said they really need to just shuffle the cards a little bit here, Clarence. Try and produce something. Haven't really been in this position at all this season, as you mentioned earlier, Brownie. Really competitive, even in the two losses that they have had. Some interesting challenge ahead here for Jeremy Webley's men. As Rainbird's kick finds Bowden, then finds Banks Smith. Reece Mott at the bottom. He's wrapped up in the James Brenner tackle. Just gets the kick away. Umpire probably wouldn't have given him much more time. Two men collide there at half forward for Glenorchy. Harper gets the hands out, finds Chambers. And the Roos just moving the ball forward once more. Again, though, just unable to get those clean disposals here are Clarence. Glenorchy putting them under plenty of pressure. And Camerick, once again, he's had a busy third term. Drifts that ball, and Brady Jones takes a strong mark on the wing.
Been one of their best. Yeah, I was going to say. He looks good on halfback, doesn't he?
And we're so used to him playing in the midfield. Certainly did for a number of years for the Roos, but just smart to have his experience in the back half. He reads it well, gets in good positions to intercept.
Jeremy Webley, quick on the break, has a shot on goal. Just misses to the near side. Yeah, I think for Brady Jones as well, obviously coming back from that injury. It's good to see him playing with a fair bit of confidence at the moment.
So it's a free kick with a kick out. Finding Rainbird, he was dealt with, and that's a good kick for Webb. On the overlap, finds Bowden. Bowden now. A little handball, it ends with Bester. Received from Geared. He looks at the edge of the 50. Joseph moving, coming back with a flight. Courageous stuff from Chambers. Got a hand in, dealt with it. Jones, caught, gone. So good for the Magpies. Can't be long left in this term. 26 and change gone, almost 27 minutes. Kick across now for Joseph. That laser-like boot. Inside 50, Daly out the back. Walker arrives, almost takes the clunk. Daly at the full. Sockers for himself. He'll look to gather. Just inside the boundary, run out.
Yeah, not much time left. 27-minute mark. And what's been a fairly uneventful quarter.
It's fair to say it's probably been the worst quarter of the game so far. 50-point margin, very little action either way. Walker down, punch forward. O'Brien onto it, rides the tackle, loses the footy. Mott does well, finds Grant, powering inside 50. Rainbird has a look over his head, and that's the end of the third term here at KG5. 50-point margin. The Magpies, well, they did the damage in the second term. Not much changed in that quarter. It was a fairly drab sort of quarter of footy. And Clarence being dished out a bit of a reality check this afternoon.
Yeah, 50 points of margin, three-quarter time. Just the only goal coming from Braden Bester, which was a nice set-shot finish for him. But look, Glenorchy would be wrapped, wouldn't they? Coming in, if they'd have known at three-quarter time they were going to be 50 points in front of Clarence, they would have taken that every day of the week.
It is icy cool here at KG5 now. The result, you'd think, will go the way of Glenorchy. They have a 49-point lead at the final change. Beyond Clarence now. It's just about getting something out of the last quarter for the Roos. So in the middle. And up we go. Bailey wins the hit out. Weberly picks up, gathers. Tries to get a kick away. Standen leads the race. He runs it into O'Brien, who's met with a tackle. No whistle. Webley climbs in over the top. Holding the ball. So I think it was Rainbow that will be penalised. He came in and claimed the ball, and Webley climbed on top. So it'll be a Roos ball through the coach.
He's tried pretty hard too, the coach.
He has. It holds up in the air, this one. Almost for Birchall. Punched away from him. Daly picks it up. Mott just deals with it. A punching kick out onto the wing. Tipped on. Bester will race on. He's got Jones for company. That's pretty good company. He butters up, does Jones. Not for long, though. Rainbird inboard. Daly on his own. Takes the grab.
Once again, another lovely inside 50 kick. Good awareness from Rainbird. Didn't panic, didn't blaze away. And lowered the eyes and was able to spot up Daly, who is going to back himself here from 50 Aussie as he got the legs.
Yeah, we've seen with the win today, probably will take his best effort.
There you go from the paint of 50. That's held up and it's well wide.
We've seen 2 or 3 go out and bounce on the full from that very spot. So it must be a reasonably tricky breeze from that particular area of the ground.
So Brady Jones kicks down the wing. Webley the target. That's a great grab from the coach. He's had a pretty decent year, I reckon, Jeremy Webley. Just going about his work. Got a decent run at things now without being injured. Punching away is Joseph. Free kick.
That's a good call about him being injured too, Gilly, because he has had some over the journey, so he'd be enjoying getting some continuity in his footy. And look, when you've had a great start to the season like the Roos, this is where not so much you can afford a hiccup, but it could be a lot more damaging if they'd have dropped some of those close games early on the year. They've had 4 or 5, I reckon they've won 4 close ones.
So Rainbird received from a Joseph kick, long and strong. Duffy arrived, as did Parker. I thought he almost brought that one down, but it comes out through Chambers again onto the chest of Joseph. He'll come back in. Punches long. Walker with a set almost brings it down. At the fall is Camrick. He'll march on in and poke through the Magpies' 12th. Great footy.
Well, what I loved about that with Camrick, one stage I thought he was going to have a shot on his left foot, but if you've got the time to get back on your preferred side, why wouldn't you do it? And that was a really smart, neat finish about a player who has spent a lot of his career inside that forward 50 Aussie, but he's really enjoyed spending a lot of time in the midfield this season, and I thought some of his defensive tackling efforts in the third quarter in front of us were terrific, and caps off his game with a nice goal. Still a lot to go in this last quarter.
No, absolutely. Probably one of the more improved players in the competition this season, Ben Camrick. Won the Anzac medal earlier this year. Back in the middle, umpire's whistle. Going to go the way of the Magpies.
Geez, a big leap from Walker, boys.
Yeah.
He doesn't mind a jump at it.
Yeah, got plenty of elevation. Brought Camrick into the game, bringing it to ground level. Jay Bowden flew there, just basically kicked Williamson in the back, and he's down, and not in a good way at all is Taylor Williamson. Jeremy Webley has the football now for the Roos. He drives the ball up the wing. Williamson just getting to his feet now. Tim Castle gathers the ball on the up. He finds Trent Standen back in the side today. Feeds it back to Castle. Pokey little ball down the line to Birchall. He then goes inside 50 looking for a target, and a strong mark taken there by James Brenner. Just went back with the flight. And on a day where a lot of those kicks haven't paid off going inside 50 for the Roos, James Brenner gets on the end of that one very nicely.
It's the way this breeze has been going. You might just have to start a little right. He gets an opportunity to be the only multiple goal kicker for the Roos. Kicked a nice one in that run of 3 goals in the second quarter.
So makes his approach now. And just as you mentioned, Brownie, needed to allow for that bit of drift. We've seen a few shots from similar part of the ground just spray to the left. So missed opportunity there for the Roos.
That use from foot, unbelievable from Joseph. So delightful to watch him kick the footy. Gunther, that's not a bad kick either. Picks out Banksmith. Banksmith, that's quite the opposite of the 2 kicks before it. That's a shocker.
Yeah, and that's the area of his game that he's really worked on over the last 12 months. But not his best kick there. I think on the whole, though, his ball use has been pretty good today.
He's been pretty good, for sure. Little spot-up kick finds Neild. He's had a good year, Neild, but a bit quieter late. Goes along, a pack forms. Arnold flies through his hands. They just punch it back in through Dickinson. Webley just rides on top of Mott, and Mott and just tries to milk a little bit more out of it.
He's paid 50, the experience. He's a Hall of Fame umpire, Scotty Jeffrey, isn't he?
He is. So, Scott Jeffrey awards 50 metres. Be a Reece Mott. Just have a look At the Glenorchy forward 50, it's not a bad kick. Timely from Dickinson. Williamson over the top, back for Dickinson. Off his boot, Mott floats across, takes the mark.
He's been a wonderfully consistent player, Reece Mott. Top 3 or 4 in the best and fairest now for Glenorchy 3 or 4 times since coming across from Devonport.
Great kick inside 50, but it was all Clarence, and Jones again brings it out. Hope slips through his fingers and out it goes.
He's become a very reliable ball winner. State representation last year, of course, against the NEFL. Can lock him in for 25 plus most weeks, Aussie.
No, absolutely. Missed a couple of games earlier in the year, and there were games Glenorchy went down in. Very important player. Duffy brings that one down to Rainbird. James Webb pumps the ball inside 50. Target there in Joseph. Just bounces off his chest and out of bounds. So a throw in forward pocket for the Magpies. 54 points the margin. 7.5 gone in this final term. Williamson competing in the ruck. He gets the tap. Only as far as a couple of metres though. Good tackle there. And Clarence will get the free kick and take advantage. No, they decide to go back.
I would have thought that was advantage.
Yeah, Dickinson was marching away. Ball's brought back to Brenner. Spearing kick inboard to Trent Hope. Really good kick from Brenner. Hope goes out wide. Finds Alex Gall. Late inclusion today. He chips the ball up to Matty Ling. Clarence just a series of short kicks here at the moment. Fletcher Seymour's presenting. Wants to go further afield to Ryan Bailey. That ball comprehensively punched out of bounds.
Yeah, look, he's looked really comfortable down back, Josh Grant, right from the word go. And right from the word of the start of the season.
A very important player is Josh Grant. Duffy wins that ball down decisively to Webb. Only as far as Ling. Goes through his hands. Brady Jones in pursuit. Alex Gall's also there for the Roos. Plenty of bodies around that contest, and the umpire will ball it up.
Not that we've got a state squad, but I think he would have almost been in a squad of 40 the way he's played this year, Grant, as that key defensive post. He looks so much more comfortable there than in the forward half of mine. Just reads it better, plays the percentages.
I reckon you're right, Brownie.
You'd have to have a couple of those Glenorchy defenders in there. Strong performances this season.
Back in it goes, off Duffy's hands and straight down to Camrick. That's a nice kick. Finds Daly, hands over the top for Banksmith. Then to Bester. He does well, navigates traffic, but he sold Daly into trouble. He's tackled and they're away now, Clarence, through Brenner. Kick onto the outer side will be claimed by Silver. He's got a job to do to get past one. Does okay. Gets his kick inside 50. All the Flyers were in black and white though, and Joseph takes it well. He's had a great afternoon, and look at that kick.
Brilliant kick.
He's fantastic. Here's Joseph, finds Banksmith. He's been busy. Onto the chest of Bowden. A long way from home, Bowden. So he looks for Daly, who has an unforgivable amount of space. He just goes a little one inside 50. That's terrific football.
And therein is the game in that last 30 seconds, just that ball use of Glenorchy. It helps when you've got a player like Joseph Bowden involved. And they've been disappointing today, the Roos, it's got to be said.
They've been flat, haven't they?
They have. I just thought in the first 5 or 10 minutes, Glenorchy just seemed to be outworking them, albeit it didn't necessarily show on the scoreboard. They have been up for a while. We mentioned just maybe the thrill they would have got out of that win last week, and it's been a bit of a come down for them. Maybe the psychology of footy, sometimes boys can get you.
Webb leans back and puts it offline. Sorry, Brownie. So Jones from full back finds O'Brien. O'Brien picks out Brenner. He's had a little bit more of the footy today, Brownie.
Yeah, I think he's been okay. And there we go, Grant again.
Glenorchy's defence has been superb, and their ball use towards the forward half has been great as well. They just haven't blazed away. We'll see here, Banksmith opts to go for the short target, doesn't come off. Mopped up by Rainbird. He's found space where there was none. On the outside of the right, he asked too much of the footy offline.
And that's one where you probably do go on your left foot. But the concern there, Aussie, was just how easy it was to be able to break away from the Clarence would-be tacklers.
No, absolutely. We've seen, conversely, Clarence very rarely able to break away from Glenorchy tackles this afternoon. As the Roos work the ball from half-back. Alex Silva with a paddock of space. Let's go down the line looking for Timmy Castle. Just nudges Grant under the football and rolls out of bounds at half-forward for the Roos.
A couple of quiet weeks for Alex Silva. I reckon we saw him early on in the year as a late inclusion. Was it?
Here,
wasn't it? KG5, and he kicked multiple goals. And a couple of weeks later, I think, might have got a bag of 5 or 6, was it, Aussie, from memory?
5 against the D's from memory.
There you go. And difficult for him today to get involved.
Certainly hasn't been the only one, but Jeremy Webley gets on the end of that ball inside 50. Thought about passing, but he'll just give himself a little bit of time and assess his options.
Well, that was a better entry because they lowered the eyes, honoured the lead, because we've mentioned a few times, when they have gone deep or put the football in the air, Glenorchy have just had the size and the experience to just mop up in the back half.
So Jeremy Webley is going to have a shot on goal. Makes his approach now. Gets a fair bit on it. It's just going to fall short. And punch through for a minor score. No, and that's it. You know, the likes of Harrison Gunther, Daniel Joseph down there, you can't afford to blaze away. That's what Clarence have done far too often today.
I've often felt Glenorchy, when they're on song, their foot skills are just about the best in the competition.
I'd have to agree, Brownie. They just, when it's on, they just seem to, the $1 million kicks they seem to hit.
I mean, there's a lot they'll take out of this game, but I think, you know, just with still a pretty young team, we know we've mentioned some experience they have got on the back half, but I'll come back to that in a second.
It's one down, and they move it forward again from Geared. Bouncing ball over the head of Joseph. He's been good inside forward 50. Parker tracks it down, being the tall target, runs it out of play.
But, you know, Gunther's still a young man. Banksmith making his way in the game. Stevenson, I think, has been terrific today. Walker's new to the club, so what a win will do for a win like this against the informed team in the competition. Millhouse is still a young player. Bierman, Brennan, Bester. So a lot of young boys today in this Glenorchy team, and they'll get a lot out of this win.
So another stoppage. This might ask to be the umpire holding the ball. So be a Glenorchy ball. It'll be Geared. They've tackled well all day, Brownie. A lot of holding the ball calls. We've spoken about it.
They seem to come out with a real determination, and they were probably not so much embarrassed, but the last time these two teams met, but they'd been up for a while, and Clarence just looked a little bit more hungry on that occasion, and so they were probably still smarting from losing to their arch rivals on their home deck.
Goes around to get a bit of extra distance. Out the back is Bowden, offhand, slaps it on the boot. Can't get it Goldwood. Handed out by O'Brien. Dickinson, long. Only target there's Hope, and there was 3 Magpies, and it's Mott who claims it. Kick inside 50. Looking for Daly. Punched away by Gall.
Dickinson's run and carried a couple of times, Aussie, in the second half off half back, and he is normally a pretty good ball user. Been predominantly playing as that mid forward for the Roos this year, but it's that's something they can get out of this. Him playing across half back.
Yeah, likely doing that in the absence of James Holmes as well. Ball back in here, side Glenorchy's forward 50. Rainbird was tackled through to a teammate who was also tackled. We'll have a ball up. Close to goal there for the Magpies. 55 points the margin. The ball slapped straight to Taylor Williamson, who's immediately wrapped up. And as has so often been the case, particularly in the second half, on stoppage leading into the next.
I think what's really pleasing about this win, almost looking at a broader sense from the competition, is take out the Tigers and North Hobart.
Scrambling ball here Parker, bottom of the pack, he's wrapped up. Yeah, sorry.
And what we've seen is everybody's best in the top 5 is good enough. Even Lauderdale, who are off to a slow start, but they've had some really good wins in the last couple of weeks. Glenorchy have bounced back today. We know Clarence defeated the premiership favourites here last week against North London. We know how good they are. So we've got a pretty even competition, boys, when teams bring their best effort, as the Pies have done today.
So Jones to Brenner, to Seymour, to Castle. Trying to find Neil. Arnold mops that one up, just keeps the ball in play. Down the line to Geard. Too easy there for Arnold. Geard wheels around onto his left boot. He's got Matty Joseph in the clear. He just taps the ball down. Callan Daly, Mitch Rainbird, take your pick. Daly with the ball. He's wrapped up. Get the ball out to Trent Hope now to the Roos. He goes to Cunliffe. Off to Ling. Back to Cunliffe, and the Roos drive the ball up the wing. Again, every disposal is really hard fought for them at the moment. Trent Standen hasn't had a lot of it today. His ball straight to Reece Mott, unable to complete the mark. And we'll have a ball up half forward here for the Clarence Roos.
Lack the leg speed, haven't they? They lack the line breakers. Holmes, Cox, we haven't sighted in the second half with an injury.
Yeah, Cox big out as this game's progressed. Seymour's handball out to no one. Tight up on the boundary line here. Chambers will take Mitch Rainbird over the line.
Gilly, we were talking in the halftime break too. Fraser Turner, who's doing some wonderful things for the Allies, had a great season at Tasmanian under-18 level, but he's tied with Clarence, hasn't played TSL footy before, so he's a player that they'll get back in the second half of the year, and he'll be a welcome addition for them. He's got great work ethic and finds the footy so very well.
Finds the footy, he has a great engine. He's been a bit of a surprise packet at under-18 level. He's bolted into real drafts calculations, finding plenty of the footy for the Allies. There's another holding ball decision just then. Camrick this time, but they've tackled so well today, Glenorchy. Bailey sits under this one, takes the mark. Inboard, he had Webley. Didn't see the option. So he's left just to pound it down the ground. Long it goes. His brother flies for it and takes a good grab. And the ruck duel's been an interesting one today. Duffy been pretty good. There's a whistle. Free kick going the way of Clarence. It'll be Standen's ball. He's quick to get going. Looking for Silver. That's a great kick. Good mark from Silver. Came out. Took it on the lead. That's better from Clarence.
It was. And it was a really nice inside 50 kick from Standard. He punched the ball through low to combat this breeze. And it's the first time Silver's been able to get some real separation on his opponent. So this is just an important kick, I would have thought, for his confidence.
Hasn't had too many opportunities today. This is a good one. Not bad off the boot, but just the wrong side of the left post.
A little bit stuttering in his approach. Gee, it's been a grind in the second half offensively for both teams. Just 2 goals scored in nearly 2 quarters of footy, both to the Pies.
It hasn't been a great half of footy, it has to be said. The result was nearly decided in the first half. Often is the case. The games can peter out. Webb underneath this one. As Rouge climb on top.
Well, the Roos didn't get a goal left of screen for the whole half, Aussie, the 2 quarters that they did play.
No, exactly right. And outside of that 4-minute patch, they haven't kicked a goal all game. 3-7-25, playing 12-8-80. Big collision there between Daly and Jones. Right in front of us here on the wing. Umpire will take this one.
I think the highlight, though, for me, the first 15 minutes of that second quarter when Glenorchy just consolidated on a really promising opening 3-goal quarter, and then they just put this game beyond doubt.
So Scott Jeffrey makes the call, giving the free kick to Duffy. Oh, big fly there from 2 players. But it's going to be a free kick in the back there for the Roos. It was Roberts and Bowden. Sorry, Bester and Bowden, I should say. Brady Jones tries to make the switch. That's quite ambitious with Mitch Walker there for the Magpies. Walker does really well in the one-on-one. Just gets the hands off to Jay Bowden. His kick smothered, but Parker's all alone near the goal line, unable to complete it. Would have been a bit of a highlight in a term bereft of them so far, it must be said.
He's had a pretty quiet game too, Parker, so that would have been nice if that one had sat up for him.
Jones to goal. Spearing kick there from goal. Finds Trent Standen. He goes short. James Brenner. Seymour out wide. Jeremy Webley presenting for him. That's where he goes. So there's Chris Neald further down the line. Neald driving the ball forward. Cunliffe is there. James Webb in the better position. And that ball rolls out of bounds for another throw in. Inside 50 here for the Clarence Roos.
Not long left, you think? Not many goals.
No, just the one for the Pies this quarter. Camerick, a really neat finish.
So the ball back in. O'Brien immediately tackled. There'll be another stoppage. So 22, almost 23 minutes gone. So they bring it inside 50. Punching was Stevenson on the outside of the boot from stand and offline. A minor score. So Roos 3-8-26. They aren't a big scoring team, the Roos. Been defensively pretty sound most of the year, though. Stevenson has had a good afternoon. Picks out Arnold. They just work it around the defence now. Comes to Joseph at the top of the square. No real hurry. Pinpoints that ball. Terrific. Not a huge margin for error on that kick, and he just lovely on the chest of Gunther, who's been outstanding. Finds Bank Smith. A good, honest player in midfield is Bank Smith. Found plenty of the footy. Hands this one back to Arnold, just a little around the corner. And drops it off to Millhouse. The dying embers of this game, again, those well and truly belong to Glenorchy Footy Club. Powering long ball onto the wing. Bester and Jones. Jones brings it down. He receives back. Inside 50 now. The fly. Gunther almost reined it in. Not quite. Standing, soccering. They climb on top of him. And a ball up.
Yeah, few and far between today for the Roos. Brady Jones, I think, has been serviceable. Bailey's tried hard. Williamson's had a good duel when he's been on Walker, but certainly competed pretty well. I think the coach Webley's been another one that can hold his head high. On the contrast, though, Aussie, Glenorchy, it's been hard to find a quiet player for them.
Yeah, absolutely. All really started from the first couple of minutes. They looked on, fully capitalised in the second term. The umpire blows his whistle. Free kick going the way of the Roos. Fletcher Seymour will take the kick.
Terrific last week, Fletcher Seymour, but like a number of his teammates, just hasn't been able to back that up with another strong game.
So he makes his approach now, going for his first goal of the day. Just drifts to the far side and punch through for a minor score. We've seen a bit of that today. Glenorchy quickly kick it out. Daly's the target. It's a 1-on-3. Tom Birchall takes the mark for the Roos. A couple of players long. It's just to poke it up. James Brenner at the fall of the ball. He's wrapped up, and Callan Daly just runs that one out of bounds for a throw in.
The timing of his spoils, Josh Grant's been terrific. He really gives it a thump. Gee, there wouldn't be long left. Probably a minute tops, I would have thought, boys.
Not long left, and an upset brewing down at Twin Ovals, just quietly. 9-point lead to the Tigers. So that'll be a big story. As the ball comes in, Chambers over his head. Swatted down by Stevenson. Arnold almost. Sockering. Bester and Jones. A hold on Jones, so he'll get a free kick.
Well, that is the story, Launceston. Their form's really dropped off.
And there's a siren. Jones will kick in vain to finish a very ordinary afternoon for the Clarence Roos. The Glenorchy Magpies far too good. 12-9-81 defeats 3-9-27. Outstanding showing from Glenorchy, who from pretty much the word go looked a dominant force today.